I was asked to read this life account of Will. We've known him in different ways, but it's a beautiful tribute to him. Willis Harlan Arms was born in Iowa on June 4th, 1924, to Monroe and Florence Arms. He was raised with his two sisters, Wilma and Rosalie. When Will was a young child, the family moved to California. Raised on a dairy farm, Will and his two sisters had many happy adventures together. Will prayed to receive Christ into his heart at his mother's knee as a very young boy. His parents involved their children in church, music, and Christian education. As a child raised during the Great Depression, Will was deeply influenced by these difficult times for the rest of his life. He often had a hard time spending money for more than the bare basics. This became an ingrained part of his personality and of his life, and he learned to get by and be content on very little. Will met his wife, Charlotte, when they were both just 16 years old at Pasadena Academy. They were married about 4 years later in a small gathering at the home of Charlotte's parents. Immediately following their honeymoon, he left for the Navy. That was life in that time. After Will's discharge from the Navy, about a year and a half later, he and Charlotte set up house together in Pasadena. In 1953, they had their first daughter, Dottie Marie. Their second daughter, Lori Elizabeth, arrived in 1956. Now we know how old you are. Church was an important part of family life at the Arms House. Will and Charlotte raised Dottie and Lori in a Christian home, and both girls made their own decision to follow Christ at a young age. Will enjoyed being a father and participated in many activities with his daughters, reading books, playing games, raising pets, taking trips, and many other things. Will worked in a variety of different occupations. He found his niche in the late 1960s selling insurance, at which he was quite successful. But his biggest dream in life had always been to be a farmer. He made a go at it in Sanger with a grape ranch around 1962. The family lived there 2 years, but the ranch was a failure. This is really difficult because we lived through all this and visited the ranch and all these others. Okay. In his retirement years, Will planted a large garden around his mobile home where he and Charlotte lived in Bellflower. The garden produced bushes after bushes of wonderful vegetables and fruit. He shared much of it with friends and family, and we all enjoyed bags of squash, grapes, spinach. He had a natural green thumb and finally got to live out some of his farming dreams. Always alive and sharp-minded, Will had a gift for telling stories and could never resist an opportunity to tell a new one or repeat an old one. He loved to write and wrote his own autobiography called Will's Way. One of his greatest talents was gleaning a fascinating story out of an ordinary day. He always had a story to tell. We will miss that very much. Will enjoyed good health throughout most of his life, with only a few minor incidents of skin cancer and some arthritis in his later years. In late 2012, he was diagnosed with lung cancer and a facial tumor. Very soon he was put on hospice, and he accepted that he was being prepared to leave this earth. During these last months of Will's life, he would not let anyone take his picture. He wanted to be remembered the way he was before the cancer. What he probably didn't realize was that at the time of his life, he was more dear to us than ever, appearance-wise and in every other way. He grew deeper in his relationship with the Lord and spoke of little else but his thankfulness to God, love for his family, and his eagerness to be reunited with his dear Charlotte, who died in 2003. He bore his illness bravely without complaint, and it was a blessing to be a help to him. Will is survived by his two sisters, Wilma Clark and Rosalie Judd, his two daughters, Dottie Henderson and Lori Gorgeous, 5 granddaughters, Heather Henderson, Wendy Yasinski, Heidi Henderson, Katie Henderson, and Laurel Henderson, and 2 great-grandsons, Peter and Hunter Yasinski. Will lived to celebrate his 89th birthday. As we gather here today to remember his life, we celebrate the best part of it all. Willis Harlan Arms died in Christ. Sorry I couldn't do better.